Mr. Olympia is the pinnacle of bodybuilding, and winning it cements your name in history forever. But there are legendary Olympia winning physiques, and then there are the controversial ones. After Phil Heath's 7-year reign from 2011 to 2017, we've had 6 different champions in just 8 years. Shawn Rhoden, Brandon Curry, Big Ronnie, Hadi, Choopan, Derek Lunsford, Samson, Dauda, and then Derek Lunsford again in 2025. And out of all those winning physiques, I believe 2019 Brandon Curry and 2025 Derek Lunsford are the 2 least impressive. In 2019, the situation was pretty simple. Brandon didn't really have anyone to challenge him. Phil Heath and Shawn Rhoden were both out, Big Ronnie was absent, and bodybuilding was caught between generations. Roely Winkler and William Bonac were off, Dexter Jackson was past his prime, and Hadi Choopan was making his Olympia debut. Brandon was aesthetic and full, but his conditioning was nowhere near what I would expect from an Olympia winning physique. Then there's Derek Lunsford in 2025. This one is much more polarizing because unlike 2019, there were plenty of guys capable of challenging Derek. The argument from his supporters is that he was the most complete bodybuilder on stage. But personally, I won't hide it. I think this was one of the biggest Olympia robberies of all time. I don't think Derek should have won, and I don't even think he should have been in the top 3. But that's a subject for another video. Today, we're putting these 2 physiques head to head to find out which one really was the worst Mr. Olympia winning physique. Front double biceps, both guys from Friday's prejudging, and we have the Saturday finals too, so for every pose we can see exactly how they compared in both rounds. So back to prejudging, the first thing that jumps out is the arm difference. Brandon has some of the most impressive biceps of any Mr. Olympia winner, while Derek is at the exact opposite end, with probably the worst arms of any Mr. Olympia. Then both of them have aesthetic torsos with a great shoulder to waist ratio, but here Derek impresses me more, his lats flare out more, and his vacuum makes his midsection look tighter. Overall, he wins the taper. Downstairs, Brandon was always criticized for the lack of both size and detail through the legs, but looking at him next to Derek, his quads might actually be fuller overall. Derek does have more detail through the outer quad, and he also positions his legs in a way to maximize the size illusion, showcasing the abductors. Conditioning-wise, I think I would give Derek the advantage here, at least from the waist down, because upstairs he looks off-season. Let's also take a look at the Saturday finals picture, and this is the story with Derek Lunsford at the 2025 Mr. Olympia that most people ignore. Derek was competitive in the pre-judging, and I could agree with him winning, but something happened for the finals, and Derek was not even top 5. But everyone is ignoring this fact. He lost all the details he had through the legs, which were already weak. Remember that he beat guys like Hadi, Samson, and Martin with these legs. But I digress. On the other hand, Brandon looks a bit tighter from prejudging, so while for Friday this pose could go either way, for the finals not only is Brandon winning, he is dominating. He's winning every single aspect of the pose, including the legs, and also including the lats, which are obviously injected from Derek. So overall, the front double biceps goes to Brandon Curry. There is also this rare shot where Derek forgot to hit the vacuum, and we can really see how much the vacuum helps him in this pose. Otherwise, he looks like he doesn't even belong in the top 10 of any Mr. Olympia the way he looks here. Front lat spread in the Friday pre-judging is next, and indeed, Derek looks to be more dry in the first round, but when it comes to shape, Brandon trashes him here, no doubt. Brandon had the perfect shape for this pose. Wide shoulders, small waist, and he's also one of the only arm-dominant athletes whose big arms don't hurt him in this pose. He simply has the perfect shape, at least in the upper body. Lower body he suffers. But being compared to Derek helps his case here. Derek, on the other hand, looks blocky, his chest is non-existent, and his arms are too short to open up properly. The only thing Derek is winning here is the conditioning. But you guys prefer overall flow, right? But when we switch to the finals, Derek loses this only advantage he had. Just look at the details through the legs. You guys are so ignorant sometimes. You make fun of channels like mine for not accepting a result. There are many of you supporting Derek's win last year, but this was the way he presented himself during the fucking finals, guys. And these pictures are not pre-picked. He looked this way for the whole fucking show. Just go and search for pictures and footage from the finals. Anyway, back to this comparison, Brandon is trashing Derek again in the finals, and he also does enough in the pre-judging as well. So overall, he wins the front lat spread too, easily this time. Side chest is next, and for the pre-judging, this pose is pretty close here. Of course, Brandon has the fullness Derek is lacking, especially through the chest. Brandon is also winning the arms easily, and lower body, Brandon's legs were actually a strong point. His hamstring drop was quite impressive, and he has the better overall size. So at second thought, this pose is not close here. Brandon is winning it, no doubt. Aside from some extra cuts in the side leg, I cannot see anything in favor of Derek here. But when we switch to the final shot, Derek further loses some of those details he had in the side leg, and his upper body literally looks off-season here, even against Brandon Curry, who looked 6 weeks out at this show. If we would ask Dorian Yates, I'm really curious to read your comments, but so far Brandon Curry is winning everything against Derek in this matchup. Back double biceps, and this is prejudging. And yes, this is the thing about Brandon Curry and his Olympia win. When you look at his lower body from the back, you cannot justify how he won Olympia's and Arnold Classic titles, really. Not only were his glutes underdeveloped, he also held too much water through the glutes and hamstrings, which by the way look pretty good even under all that water. Also, Brandon's weak calves make Derek actually win the calves for the first time ever against anybody. So yes, Derek Lunsford is pretty much winning the pose already, solely judged by the lower body, and when it comes to the upper body, he already has the best back in the world nowadays, so there is nothing that could really change. Aside from the fact that everyone forgot how great Brandon's back looked back in his prime. Is he losing the upper body here against Derek? Let's see. Brandon trashes Derek when it comes to the arms and shoulders, and I'm not convinced he's losing the back either. His back is complete full, lower lats are locked, the taper is there. I could really see an argument for him actually winning the back itself, but the upper body, including the arms and shoulders, that definitely should go to him. But if upstairs is somewhat close, Derek does more than enough downstairs to secure the pose. For the finals, even though Derek lost some of that polish, he's still beating Brandon. Overall, Brandon is in better shape for the finals, but water and fat don't always distribute the same on different athletes. Derek will always have clean shredded glutes and hamstrings, even when he's almost off-season as here. Overall, I'd give Derek Lunsford the back double biceps for both rounds against Brandon, but based on the upper body alone, I prefer Brandon, by the way. Back lat spread for prejudging, and Brandon is definitely winning the back aspect. His back looks more 3D, thicker, and better through the lower lats. Now, if this was 2023 Derek, the story would be different, but Derek's back is getting worse, at least when it comes to the lat spread. Now, Derek's pose is still more complete. I cannot award Brandon anything with that lower body, which is a shame, considering how great he looks upstairs. Now, when it comes to the finals, Derek looks so bad that, aside from the glutes, I don't think he's winning anything else against Brandon here. Brandon has the better back, the better arms, the better hamstrings, and even competitive calves almost. I'm not gonna award Derek Lunsford an entire pose for only winning the glutes, so for the finals I'm going with Brandon here, which makes me revisit the back double biceps for the finals. I'm not changing my mind when it comes to this. Derek does enough upper body to secure the pose, but for the back lat spread, I think he's giving up the pose against Brandon for the finals, but winning the prejudging. Side triceps is next, and this is supposed to be one of Derek's better poses, but I think we all forgot how good Brandon Curry actually was. In my opinion, the way they look here in the prejudging, in this pose, Brandon is winning every single aspect of the pose. Obviously, he wins the arms, shoulders, and chest, but he also has the more detailed midsection. The only question remains downstairs, but from the side, Brandon was actually strong, even though he's lacking quad details. Overall, I would give him the side leg against this version of Derek. Now, if this was 2025 Arnold Classic Derek, the story would be different. That's why his win last year at the Olympia is not justified, guys. And this was prejudging, by the way. When we take a look at the finals, Derek doesn't look like he belongs in the first call-out of any Mr. Olympia. He was literally off-season. I know you guys are ignorant, but I see everything. If you remember, when it came to the individual posing routines on Saturday, Derek came at the end while Samson was the reigning champion. There was an issue with Derek, who was not able to pose at his turn, and they left him last. They covered up something for sure, and we can see in his physique that something went wrong for him in the finals. That's too bad. He should never have won the show looking like this, even though there was an external factor happening to him. Back to the matchup, Brandon is winning the side triceps in both the finals and prejudging. Abs and thighs is next, and Brandon definitely has the better legs than Derek, and you don't hear too many experts crying about it the way they did with Brandon all those years. Now, when it comes to the abs, It may or may not be the best moment for Brandon, but making no excuses, Derek is winning the abs aspect here even though he looks bad too. But I'm not sure I would give him the pose for that. Brandon still looks more aesthetic and has the better thighs here. But when it comes to the finals, Derek is simply embarrassing. Anyone who still defends his win last year is either ignorant or a fanboy. And don't get me wrong, if he looked the way he looked in the prejudging, even though I'm not a fan of his, I could understand him winning. But based on the finals, this was one of the biggest robberies nobody's talking about. Brandon Curry is winning the abs and thighs for the finals in dominant fashion. And I would also give him the pose in the prejudging, where it is indeed more debatable. When it comes to the most muscular pose, I chose the best variation for both of them, the crab for Brandon and the hands clasped for Derek. And here there is no debate. Brandon Curry is embarrassing your 2025 Mr. Olympia for both prejudging and finals. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you why, because the pictures are obvious. In the end, Brandon Curry wins every single pose except for the back poses against Derek Lunsford in this matchup, so the score would be 6-2 for Brandon. Furthermore, when it comes to the finals, I had Brandon winning one of the back poses, namely the back lat spread, which makes the score 7-1 for the finals, with Derek winning only the back double biceps, where by the way I still had Brandon winning the upper body overall. This result alone should tell you everything about who is the worst Mr. Olympia of the modern era. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you think I'm completely wrong, but I want to hear your opinion. Who do you think had the worst winning physique? Brandon Curry in 2019 or Derek Lunsford in 2025? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.